Breaking news.
Breaking tonight from Florida, former Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse and current University of Florida President Ben Sasse is stepping down from that position at the end of the month. In an online post, Sasse saying that he needs to spend more time at home with his wife and kids. He says his wife was recently diagnosed with epilepsy. Sasse will live in Gainesville and still work as professor at the university.